As an entrepreneur, especially a younger entrepreneur, I was like, try everything, do it all, just keep going, be fast, be activated. And I've learned to slow down. That's just what comes with age. We all slow down when we become older. So my advice now is much different than it would have been many years ago. And I built a business, over $2 million business in the activated state, trying to rush. I also got very, very sick. And I've also built a business in the relaxation state. And it's made well over $2 million. So you can build a business in any particular way. It can be activated. It can be relaxed. It really comes down to how do you want to be. But remember, I mentioned at the beginning, it's not in one or the other. Health is the ability to be in all those states, to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. Entrepreneurs do not know when to turn it off. And with that comes expectations. I've worked and I've grinded for the last 2 years. Why isn't this working? Some give up, try something else. Others continue to persist through. There's no guarantee that either one are going to make it. For me, Kajabi has been really helpful because it keeps everything in-house. From just a very clean, hygienic way. I had an entrepreneur business that was solo entrepreneur, and it was just essentially me and maybe 2 other people running it, maybe 3. And it made a lot of money. And I used the automations from Kajabi to really help with that. Somatic has 15 people on the team. We still all use Kajabi. So it was a great tool for me to utilize, whether it was a big team or a small team. And ultimately what I did realize about this, and I will say this as I think it's very true, solo entrepreneurship is very lonely. No one talks about that. What is it worth to build something alone? Where does that get you? It got me to the top of a mountain, a big mountain of money, with an incredible view, with no one to share it with. And I think that when we look at businesses, why would you want to do it alone? Why would you not want to do it with the people that you care about, people you love, people you really respect? Why not do that? So really this comes down to how do you build teams? How you build teams comes down to how do you build relationships? How you build relationships comes to how's the relationship with you? And ultimately, I think somatic breathwork can really help. At the very basis of building a relationship within yourself internally, it can help you then build relationships with others, which then can help you build a team and amass a following, a team that can help you and support you. And ultimately, that is success. Do I stand on a mountain of money now with this new business? Well, I don't really pay attention. I've gotten to a place where I stand on a mountain and I'm able to see that so many other people are walking up the mountain with me, that impact will always trump income. It's a lesson I had to learn the hard way, and I'm glad I did. And for anybody who's listening to this, start early, build a team. There are a multitude of friends I have that have built personal brands. They all, deep down, don't talk about this to the outside world, but deep down, they struggle with building an actual team. They're lonely. Kajabi's great for both of those. But it's just really truly speaking to entrepreneurship and solo entrepreneurship and really learning wow, this is really important, because you said at the beginning of the call, there is no end. This is not a destination. This is a journey. And so who you journey with will be the most important. That is the question you really need to ask yourself when you're building a business. It is not about that destination. It is not about the start of that journey. It is about the company you keep along that journey, because it is a long road and it's going to get really hard. And there's going to be a lot of really, really tough things that you encounter. And that's okay. Who you get to share that with? There's going to be some great ups too. Who do you get to share that with? So entrepreneurship is actually a miniature version of life, just in the business sense, because there's an exchange of some type of value, which in this case is money. Just realizing that entrepreneurship is hard, and that's okay. That's why we're showing up. We're not afraid of hard, but let's do it together. And I will end with this. In life, we have to live that on our own, but we do not have to do that alone. And there's a big difference between those two.
I love that. I want to take it back briefly to somatic breathwork. And I know that there's no silver bullet. There's no one thing that we can do to completely change our lives in this brief conversation, but is there maybe just one thing that we could do that, like, if you, let's just pretend, or not pretending, this is real, like we have actual listeners who are maybe either sitting in their car right now driving down the road, or maybe they're working on some project for work and they're listening to this in the background. What's something that they can do to utilize maybe some of the teachings of somatic breath work to, let's just say, improve their day, or to make them, I don't know. I know you said we don't want to prescribe the emotion, but put it to use.
Well, ultimately, it's really nice if I had sound or some type of music, because music really holds the container so nicely. It really kind of creates an atmosphere and really helps us feel a certain way. But really think about it this way. Breath is the toggle switch to your nervous system. Your nervous system can find itself in the activated or the actual relaxed state, which is known as the sympathetic or the parasympathetic. But essentially, you can change your mood just by breathing. If you take long inhales, short exhales, it will sound like this. You will activate your system. You will wake it up. Maybe it's a way to start your day. Maybe it's before you go into something that's active. Maybe when you're feeling a little bit lethargic, you need to show up for work. It's your natural coffee, if you will. The opposite is true, is to actually put yourself in a more relaxation state. It's actually a longer exhale and a shorter inhale. That will sound like this, or will look like this for those of you, whether you're watching or listening. It will look like you're in control of your breath, which means you're in control of your nervous system. And then you get to decide whether you have the capacity to respond to something or whether you're just reactive towards something. This is what gives us that window of space. With breath, we create space, and that gives us a little bit more, if you will, nervous system flexibility, a greater capacity to hold what's going on. You're not just flipping out and being angry at something that really bothers you. You have the capacity to stay calm and to stay responsible, able to respond rather than reactive. And that's really important. And that's something you can use, maybe not driving your car while you're driving, but maybe when you're sitting in traffic, maybe at work. Just small little things. 3 minutes in, a breath hold at the top, seeing how you want to feel, feeling how you want to feel, and then breathing that in. Breathing out what you don't want. What do I not want? What do I want to get rid of? Holding at the top and seeing and feeling what you really want to be filled up with. What do you want to be left with? How do you want to feel? What do you want others to feel from you? And then breathing that in towards the second half. Breathing that in is so important, because this is not about what you want to let go of. It's about what you want to be left with. It's not about letting go. It's about letting in. And do you have the courage to do that? And ultimately, I could take us through a somatic practice if you wanted to, but that's pretty much like a quick little bite-sized daily practice that you could do that could be very, very instrumental in changing your state from reactive to relaxation. And ultimately, a bigger journey, which somatic breathwork holds 60-second journeys, a lot can happen in 60 minutes. You stay with someone and let them breathe for 60 minutes, I promise you, they're going to feel something. Maybe a sensation, maybe a feeling, maybe an emotion. Only lastly, a story.